Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us. If you'd like to record, just put it in the chat. We're going to get started with head coach Jim Curtin. After his opening statement, we'll go right into questions.
Yeah, thanks, Nico. Just to reflect back on the Pachuca result, obviously an unacceptable performance from the group, and as the leader, I take responsibility. It was a night that went wrong from the start. We should never still get beat by a team 6-0. So in that regard, a lot we can work on and improve. Still, I don't think it is a good representation of this group. I'm fully confident that they'll bounce back with a strong performance and look like us. Obviously, going to Mexico is a difficult task, and that's been proven over several years. But at the same time, if we don't do the little things like run, fight, compete for each other, they have the quality to, make it look like that. So have to regroup quickly. The reality is our CONCACAF Champions Cup run comes to an end. We're all disappointed with that. So apologies to the fans. But at the same time now, we realize we're 2 games into a season where we've had, our best goalkeeper in the league missing. Managed to get I would call it a bad draw against Chicago and a good draw against Kansas City. Now we're in game 3 of 34, and we have a lot we can work on and improve on for sure. But I'm confident that the group will have a good response against a good Austin opponent.
Thanks, Jim. Jonathan Tannewald.
Thanks, Nico. Jim, what has your message been these last few days as you've gotten back on the practice field, and what has the response been from the players?
Yeah, the players are together. I think they all understand and recognize that wasn't us. Sometimes you have games that go poorly, but you should never have a game where the score line is the way it is. Look, Jonathan, as well as anybody, right? I think the record for MLS teams in Mexico is at 5-58-14. That's the reality. So it's tough to go there. We knew that going into the game. We still should represent the club, represent our league better than we did. So we know that there's some things we did poorly for sure, and we got punished. But the group, recognizes now getting back to the basics, doing the little things that make us a strong group, whether that be, keeping it a little more compact, running and fighting, challenging for second balls. We got out-competed, and that's usually not the case with this group. So getting back to those basic principles that we always talk about, had some healthy discussions, good film, and we'll move on and look towards Austin.
Jose Nunez.
Hi, Jim. Quick question in terms of availability. I know, Jose, you had mentioned after the game that Jose had asked to come out at halftime. How is he doing? And obviously, Julian Carranza was brought in sort of let's try to go for this game during the second half against Pachuca. How are they both doing?
Yeah, Jose, first and foremost, he was just sick. So it wasn't like a muscle injury or anything like that. So, with the altitude, I guess, and the combination of the sickness, it just had a tough time and asked to come out. After that, Julian comes into the game probably a little earlier than we wanted, but the circumstances of the game, conceding right before half, we wanted to be aggressive. We maybe paid for that by leaving ourselves a little too open. But Julian got 45 minutes under his belt, which was important. He'll be available now for selection to obviously to start, and then he's our best striker, so he will start. I'll give Josh the head start on that. So he's fully fit and ready to go. It's good to have all players now to choose from for this game. And this is an important game because I think you guys know we lose about 10 players after this game. So it's going to be a disjointed start to the season, like we've talked about, because of the Champions League, because of injuries to Blake and Carranza, and having it kind of be a little bit disjointed. But this is our schedule. We have to deal with it, and need to have a good performance. That's our biggest focus right now. Win, lose, or draw, let's look like us against Austin. Do the things that make us a strong team. Win our duels, win our transitions, defend well as a team. Attacking and defending restarts, being strong and stable on those. all those little things. I think the players have voiced that to each other. It's a group that knows when it's good enough and knows when it's not good enough. So, we're all on the same page and realizing we need to have a good response.
Well, you answered my second question in terms of the rotating bodies that you'll have after this match. It seems like it's going to be a handful for you and the staff to sort of work through. So best of luck this weekend.
Yeah, look, you guys can piece together. We can still piece together a strong back line, a strong forward line, but where we're really going to get hurt will be in that midfield area. Quite literally, I don't know if we'll have enough bodies to do it. So somebody's going to be playing out of position. Not an ideal scenario or situation. Not good for the fans to watch, but it's the schedule, and we'll make the most of it.
Thank you. Best of luck.
Joe Tanzi.
Hey Jim, how are you?
Hi, how are you?
What have you seen from Daniel and Mikel early in the season? I know the attack's been disjointed because Julian's out with the injury, but from their individual performances, what can you take and kind of build on now that Julian's back and you have these league games to start building up some things on?
Yeah, look, I always talk with our front three and say we only go as far as you guys do. And then that means from the work rate they put in defensively, the 7 guys behind them, if the front three is pressing good, the 7 will follow. And what usually happens when that is good is they get their goals and they play confident. Right now, I would say they're not confident, which is natural, when you have a tough result like we did. So again, we have to get them going. And I think, again, they'll have a good response. So they understand the pressure. They're among the best, that those 3 players are, when they're going good, as good as any group of 3 in the league. And now we want it to be, more consistent. We want them to obviously be set up for success and be on the ball a lot more. But it starts with the work rate defensively. And when that's good, I think then we're at our best. In their defense, they haven't all been together on the field too much this year, and hopefully we can get that going against Austin. Start to click a little bit. And look, in the biggest games, guys, it's a cliche, but you need your best guys, and I would put those guys in our category as some of our best guys to be your best players. Against Pachuca, you look at the game Rondon had, and Sanchez and Idrissi, and how they really raised their level. We just weren't ourselves as a team, and we had a tough night. I don't think there's a guy that could, put their hand up and say that they had a strong game whenever you concede that many goals. So we know we have to improve. We have to work on some things, but it's certainly getting those guys going will be a real key to us.
Jonathan Tannenwald.
Jim, you played Boston in the preseason.
Yeah.
It was a lot of reserves and this, that, and the other thing, and it was, 140 minutes or whatever it ended up being. I don't know, but is there anything that you take from that, because it was relatively recently, that can help with this game?
Yeah, look, when you talk about Austin and Josh Wolf and being a very good coach, a team that wants to pass and build out of the back, a lot of short passes, a lot of possession. They have a pretty clear style of play. They've been missing their key player, Driussi. He's for me, a top player in our league, a guy that, if he does start, he really adds a ton to their attack. We'll have to do a good job on him. So, preseason is preseason, Jonathan, but certainly there's some, ideas and patterns and movements in their formation that you understand, in the way we like to play, how we can kind of counteract and take away their strengths and as best we can and kind of hide our weaknesses. So yeah, there's definitely things you learn from the preseason. It is strange, having never played Austin yet, and them being in the league for a little while. So it'll be our first test here on the road. We recognize the atmosphere and their fans are incredible. They're going to be behind their team and they're going to be loud and it's going to be a hostile environment. So we'll have to be, on our A game. And we expect a really tough test. But you take little things from the preseason for sure. But as you know, when the whistle blows, still game 3 of the season for us, I think 4 for them. It's different than preseason, that's for sure.
And sorry for the background noise, but do you let yourself be a Monterey fan or not?
Of course.
And it's,
Now that they beat, now that they're past Cincinnati, yeah. I jokingly texted Pat and Chris a couple of weeks back that I bought a Monterey jersey and I'm a Monterey fan. So
Kyle Almoni.
Hi, Jim. Just wanted to get your thoughts on Jack and Nate getting selected for the Olympic camp, and also with David and Neil getting selected for the U19 camp. What's your thoughts?
yeah, look, I think again, I'm always going to vouch for my guys. I think Quinn Sullivan got overlooked and had a tough decision maybe go against them. I know it's always hard with national teams and form and who's available, injuries, all the things, but Quinn deserves to go as well. Unfortunate there, but look, I think when you talk about Nathan Harriel, a guy who's played on the left side, center back, right side for us, and has had a great season so far. It's very early, but a lot of good performances. You see his flexibility. I think the national team likes that as well. He can play multiple positions, and he's a great kid. Very coachable, eager to get better, great mentality, great attitude. Just a really, really good person and a great player. So happy for him to get rewarded with a call up. McGlynn has also been one of our real bright spots this season. His ability to get out of tight spaces, pass with his left foot to kind of speed the game up when it needs to speed up and slow it down when it needs to slow down is something, guys, that not a lot of players in our entire league have, let alone a kid as young as him. So doing a great job for us. And then obviously with Vasquez and Pierre, I think that you get confidence when you get into a first team environment. Vasquez had a tough injury with us in the preseason, but still showed real flashes of a top, attacking player that also will do the defensive work. So great future for Vasquez coming for sure. And then Neil Pierre, I believe, once center backs realize and recognize, yes, it's hard to step up to the first team level, but that game against in the preseason, he had a couple of good ones, so I won't just single out one game. He had a couple of good games in the preseason where you kind of have this moment where you go, I belong. I can do this. I can take my game to a whole nother level, and I'm really happy for him to get recognized as well. Still really, really young too, and you can't coach or teach 6'5", athletic, fast, and good on the ball. So he has some really good starting points, and proud of all those guys.
All right, final question will go to Jose Nunez.
As we're making our way through here, some of these international call-ups and asking you questions, would love to hear your thoughts, as long as my Hebrew is not too rusty, of Ty Baribo being selected for Israel, sort of where he stands. Obviously, you mentioned the injury and getting up to speed and getting into the groove. What are your thoughts on him getting the call-up to go represent Israel?
Yeah, look, representing your country is the biggest honor that we have in our sport. It doesn't make it a little harder for him to keep a flow and a rhythm with us, absolutely, but we'll always release our players, and he's again working to get himself into the top couple strikers. He wants to be on the field. We're trying to get him more reps with our first team guys in training. It's hard right now because when you look at our training environment with the amount of games that we've played, it's a lot of recovery. So we're not all working together on the practice field at the same time. So there's been a few days we've been able to do it, but not as much as we'd like. But he's progressing and getting better. Like I told you last week, we had a good, healthy discussion, and we're going to need him this year. And as he gets going now, hopefully he can go away with the national team, get some confidence, continue to build on that fitness, and then come back and help us with minutes and goals as well. So we still believe very much in Ty. It's just been a little unfortunate to start that I'm sure everybody wanted, he wanted, and I wanted. Hasn't quite been there yet, but it's a very long season, guys. I'll continue to stress, we're 2 games in and we have 2 draws, so we have to be better. We recognize that. We're disappointed to get knocked out of the Champions Cup, but this is a early stage of the season, and this group will get better and stronger as the year goes, not just Ty, but everybody.
Thank you, Jim. Best of luck again.
All right, thanks, Jim. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.